Hello everyone, my name is Akira. I'm a pianist, piano teacher, and a translator who's living in 3 different countries. As many of you know already, I use my iPad Pro for sheet music. In fact, I made a whole video about how it works, so if you're interested in, please go ahead and check it out. This is a fantastic device that's too powerful, too fancy, and way too expensive for me. But unfortunately, I need a big screen that can display the piano music, and all of my sheet music is locked in this software called Score, which is only available on iOS. So as far as my sheet music goes, I'm locked into the Apple world. But since I have this pretty device already in my hand, I've been looking for and starting to use it in many different ways in my music lessons. So today I'd like to talk about 3 different ways I use my iPad for my music lessons. Now keep in mind, these things, you can actually use it for many different kinds of lessons. And you can do all of these with smaller iPads or even Android tablets too. Before I start, as always, I'd like to say a huge thank you to my patrons on patreon.com and my YouTube members. Recently, I took a payout from Patreon and went on a shopping spree to buy Stream Deck, a used but new to me phone that has better camera, because my current one's starting to break, and the new mouse that's supposed to boost my productivity. The Stream Deck and the mouse is already making the editing so much easier, and hopefully this is gonna boost my productivity in the future. And this upgrade wouldn't have been possible without all the monetary support from my generous supporters. And if you're kind enough to support me for $3 or $10 per month, I'll leave a link to my Patreon page in the description. You can also sign up for my channel membership from right here. And if you still haven't done so, please subscribe and hit the bell button so you won't miss my future video. Alright, let's start. So the first thing I want to talk about is student record using Excel. Unfortunately, I can't show you the actual file that I use because there's a lot of personal information. But this is the same template. This is a blank page. But when you get a new student, you tap this sheet and hit duplicate. Now let's name this student Bob Smith. And he has a phone number 800-888-4444. Email bob@smith.com. Date of birth, January 1st, 2011. I'm going to explain about the remarks and reminder later. So Bob took a lesson on January 1st this year. For attendance, I don't really type anything if they're here. But if they're absent, I put absent. If they're 5 minutes late, I'll just put 5 minutes late, just for record. For comments, I write something like, well prepared. And then I usually write what we did in each book. For example, dozen a day, number 1 plus 2, pass, assigns 3 to 5. Sometimes I write something like finger shape, number 5 needs more work. Lesson book had trouble with dotted quarter note rhythm. Count and clap worked. Performance book, he passed. Assigned page 14. Something like this. As the lesson goes on, January 8th, January 15th, January 22nd. Just to save time, I'm gonna copy everything down. And then at this point, I'm thinking, wait a minute, why is he always 5 minutes late? So I can talk to the parents. This gives me an overall idea of what we did in the last lesson before I start the new lesson. And for reminder, I would write something like, wants to take an audition in May. And this is in red, so it'll remind me all the time whenever I open his record. Remarks is kind of same, but I would write something that's specific to the student that I have to remember, like peanut allergy. Now let's change the tab name to his name, Bob Smith. Okay. Now I have another student called George Thompson. And then I have another student called Michelle Anderson. And so on. So when Bob's lesson is over, I just click George. Now I'm ready for the next lesson. Occasionally, students change their lesson times, so now George's time is before Bob. Now I can easily drag him before Bob. Now you can of course do this with paper, but it's much cleaner than my handwriting, and there's unlimited space to write whatever you want for each record. And you don't have to juggle with paper. You don't have to add a paper when the page is full. And in general, I find it much easier to type than handwrite. On top of everything, this is saved in my OneDrive. So I can securely access it from my computer in the office. If somebody calls me and asks about the student's progress, I can access that even if I'm not in the studio. If I'm at the doctor's appointment and taking long and I have to call the first student, I can even access all the records from my phone if I really need to. So this is a very neat way to keep track of the student's progress. This has been helping me tremendously to review what we did last week and then keep it consistent this week. In order to type easily, I'm using this Logitech keyboard. I'll leave the link to this keyboard in the description. This keyboard has a little ditch in the back where you can set your iPad or any kind of tablet or phone like this, and you're all set to go. Of course, Apple has such a sleek looking keyboard for iPad for $300. But don't worry, for people with limited budget, Apple has this fancy keyboard for $250. Yeah, if you give up the touchpad, you can get it for $180. So if you're a piano teacher with lots of money, which I've never seen, so if you want it to be rich, just choose different career. So I'm okay with this $60 Logitech keyboard. You can also pair this keyboard with 3 different devices and switch between them very easily just by pressing these buttons. For your convenience, I'm gonna leave links to all the products I'm using in this video in the description. So the second thing I want to talk about is this Metronome app. It's called Pro Metronome. And again, there's an Android version too, so if you have an Android tablet or phone user, you can use this too. This is a metronome, so if you hit play, it clicks like this. But what I like about this metronome is you can do a subdivision, like this. So if the student is having trouble getting the sense of 16th notes, I'm going to set this to 16th notes, and then play. It tells you exactly how fast 16th notes are at given tempo. Another way I use this is sometimes students are skipping a beat or holding something too long, resulting in having extra beats or not having enough beats in each measure. In that case, I'm going to tap these bars to change the length and play different sound for different part of the measure. And that tells the students when exactly they're supposed to start a new measure or where exactly they're in each measure. So hopefully when you skip a beat or add extra beat, you'll notice right away. Now if you really want to, you can go into the settings, change the tone to 13, and go
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alright, this is kind of creepy. Another feature I use all the time is where it says tap here. When you tap certain tempo, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, it tells you what tempo you are at. And this is extremely useful when I tell the students you are rushing. They won't believe me, but I can actually quantify it for them. Or if they're playing Hanon, and I just want to know how fast they're playing today. This is much faster and less distracting than trying to find the tempo using the traditional metronome while the student's playing. Some of these are paid features, but I don't think it was that expensive. And I recommend almost all of my students to use this metronome so they can do what we do in the lesson at home too. Last but not least is a slow-mo or frame-by-frame analysis. And this particular app is called Coach's Eye. Now unfortunately, they don't offer this app anymore, and I've been trying to find compatible apps, but a lot of them require subscription or paying upfront. But I will introduce 2 apps that I think can work. But if anybody knows better app than this, please let me know in the comment section. So what this does is you can record from the app, and when you're done recording, when you scroll at the bottom, you can see the image frame by frame. Now in this case, I think I was trying to show the collapsing finger right here. You can even draw it. And you can even zoom in. This is pretty handy because when you're playing the piano, you can't really see your finger shape because it's behind your palm. But as a teacher, I'm seeing from the side and what I see is a lot different. So in order to convey what I'm trying to tell them, it's just much faster to just show them what it is. And I love the name Coach's Eye because my students can now see their hands from my eyes. But unfortunately, this app is no longer supported. Because I paid for the app, I can use it forever. So I did some quick research and I came up with two alternatives. One is called Cricket Coach Free. So you can analyze your cricket form. Very nice. But let's analyze something that's more relevant. So I'm gonna hit this camera button and import previously recorded video. Let's use the same exact one that we just saw. Oops, this is different, but you get the idea. You can scroll this and stop wherever you want. You can zoom in. The only thing that I don't like about this app is that this arrow is always in the middle of the screen and it kind of gets in the way. But it does the same job. I think I was trying to show this student how she's collapsing the pinky when playing the black key. And next app is called Go Form. This app looks a lot more solid than the Cricket one, but there's a subscription and free version only allows 10 files, whatever that means. I haven't used it for long enough, so I don't know what that means. But here's how the screen looks like. You can zoom in, you can scroll frame by frame. And here's a collapsing finger. Can I notate? Oh, there it is. There you go. So I really wish Coach's Eye was still offered, but unfortunately it is not. So if you know any better app, please let me know in the comment section. These days, I'm actually not using my iPad for student record keeping because as I started using technology more and more in my lessons, I found it was a little cumbersome to go back and forth between the student record and Metronome and student record and shape music and all that. So I actually bought another tablet. This is Samsung Galaxy Tablet A7. This is a lot less powerful and smaller than an iPad, but it's more than enough to keep the student record. And it's much cheaper. So these are three things that I do with my iPad that's not sheet music related. Since its invention, pianos as instruments haven't changed that much, but that doesn't mean the way we teach can't evolve. When I was little, my teacher didn't use any of these technologies because she didn't have it. But now I can put all the music in my iPad so I don't have to have tons of books around me all the time. I can keep students' record much quicker and in a neater way and can access to it anywhere I am. Use an advanced metronome to tell students exactly how fast they are going and show them what I'm seeing while I'm talking about their finger shape and technique. And I'm always looking for new ways to use technologies to help the students achieve their goals. So if you know any other good ways to use technology in our lessons, please let me know in the comment. As always, if you like this video, please hit the like button so YouTube will know this is a good content and start spreading to other people. If you're interested in an online lesson or consultations, I'll leave the link to my appointment system in the description. And if you still haven't done so, please subscribe and hit the bell button so you won't miss my future videos. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!